some of the male folk. But one of them is confident enough. Bring it on, I'll take it tonight. Whatever you got to give, I'm ready. And he will be the first contestant I will be introducing tonight. He goes up against one of those powerful trio of ladies. Peter Adekeye joins me now. They call him Sir Peter Maiden. And I've been laughing at him since last night. Serafina has laughed at you today too. The young man is a real estate agent. He freelances. He loves Liverpool globally and Kano Pillars locally. He lives somewhere in Ibueleni in Iba in Lagos. He and Friday are probably neighbors. Serafina, I need you to check your mic. Mic check. Are you good?
Yeah. Neighbors.
Okay, fantastic. You're good. On Twitter, Peter is Peter Techwork. Peter Techwork. Also on Instagram, Peter Techwork. That's Peter. Is that it? Peter Techwork.
TEC.
TEC. Yeah. Peter TEC Work. Okay. Welcome, Peter, to the battle tonight.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Bao. You've not started. Confusion has hit you.
I'm too conscious of calling you Femi. You know, you said usually at this, so I was like, today I will not make that mistake.
So
good evening.
You are concentrated on Femi and Chinenye that wants to deal with you, and you now forgot the time of day.
Good evening, listeners, and good evening.
Good evening.
Judges.
Okay. You know, I don't want to tell you something. Please take it easy. Eh?
Do you need time? Do you need time to recover? Are you okay?
I'm taking my time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. His opponent in the red corner, weighing. Okay, let's not go there. Okay. Chinenye Achimobosi.
Yes.
You like it when I get your name right there?
Yes.
Don't worry. We all call her Nenye. She represents a brand as a customer service person. She supports Arsenal globally. Locally, she's still making up her mind. She stays in Buchi City, Ajegunle, Apapa, Lagos. Man, it's a lot of sacrifice to go. That's some distance, right?
Not really.
Not really.
No, if there's no traffic, like an hour.
Okay, an hour. On Twitter, she is NK_Chinenye. You want to follow her. These two individuals are hot like fire. The second battle will feature two ladies, Chinwe and Molat. Is it Molat and Chinwe? We'll come to that in a while. So, guys, are you good to go?
Yeah, we are ready.
Yeah.
Let's try and save time. I told you at the start of the show this evening that we will be doing assessments tonight. And you guys will do the first of two assessments. Please permit me to say our panel will be made up tonight of Serafina, Lizzie, and Sam. And as we've done in this round, especially from the last battle night, we, after the contest is done, which consists of 1 minute to lay the foundation for your debate, 5 minutes to have the argument, and then 1 final minute to end the discussion. We will come back to the voting. Voting sequence will be first the phone lines, 5 votes per battle, 5 maximum. Whoever gets 3 first wins it. And then we'll come to the panel before we go to social media. We'll go to social media last. A quick reminder, we are streaming on Facebook, Nigeria Info 993. That's our official Facebook page. Sam would probably want to make sure our streams are up and running. Facebook page, Nigeria Info 993. You'll probably see me in a blue shirt at this time. Usually on Tuesdays, I would be in suit and tie. But thank goodness for the holidays, I get the privilege to dress down. So just a blue shirt, which is nice. We're all dressed down, aren't we? Even Serafina has a ref predictor cap by the time you see her.
Please, I am not dressed down.
Okay.
You see me like this, I put an effort into this place. Please, you see people that are dressed down,
okay.
I'm not dressed down.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. Mhm.
Please don't come my back.
Okay, so that's how we will go. On Twitter, it's Nigeria at Nigeria Info FM at Nigeria Info FM. We are streaming on our live YouTube channel. That's Nigeria Info on YouTube. We've embedded that tube on our Twitter handle at Nigeria Info FM, so you'll see the live stream on Twitter. But to vote, you'll have to go to the tweet we are going to pin in a few minutes at the top. Who's manning multiverse
Ife.
today? Ife?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing guy. Okay, fantastic. So Ife will pin it in a short while when the debate starts. The reason why we don't pin it early is so that you don't begin to vote before you even hear the arguments. Okay? So don't forget, when you do vote, vote based on the performance or the performances of these contestants, not on your personal opinion on the subject matter. I would continue to remind you of that. Okay? So go to the pinned tweet, which will appear pretty shortly. So let's go to battle 1 tonight. We asked you guys, Peter and Nenye, to assess VAR on EPL match day 1. And we're wondering, was it great? Was it so great? Or was it not so great? If you take a position, you'll explain why you're taking the position. We put it into a draw, and Peter picked out not so great, leaving Nenye with so great. Again, I must remind you, what these contestants argue out may not necessarily reflect their personal opinion. They picked the positions blindly in a draw, and they have to argue it out whether they believe it or not, which is not an easy thing to do, which is the more reason why you appreciate them for the hard work they put into and for the messages or the points they bring out, the attack they give to the topic. Remember that. So when you vote, also remember that, to ensure that you are not voting based your own personal opinion on the subject matter, but on their performance. Even if you don't agree with the point, but if the performance impressed you, you may want to vote for that person. Is that clear? The same way they too may be defending a position they don't personally agree with. If that is clear, I would just say, Peter, you are contestant 1 for the night for battle 36. Nenye is contestant 2 for battle 36, meaning Peter, you get to go first. You have 1 minute to tell us why you believe that after assessing VAR on EPL match day 1, you don't think it was so great. Your 1 minute begins now.
Yeah, good morning. Now, good evening. Sorry.
Good morning.
Assessing VAR on match day 1, and I picked the opinion that it is not so great. Now, Premier League put a whole lot of effort to it took them 2 years to prepare for this. 2 years, and in the period of 2 years, they use it for 36 matches. And coming to the match day 1, they should give us at least 70% excellent or perfect, which has not been so. Now, the reason for VAR is to ensure the right decision is taken and to minimize wrong decision in football. And over the weekend, the Premier League, we noticed that every decision that VAR took was not right. The Premier League told us that VAR assessed 70, the VAR checked 70, they reviewed 70 incidents in the field of play, which is involved 3 goals. 3 of those goals, 2 was overturned, one was given. So putting this into consideration, put into perspective, the VAR in match day 1 in the EPL was not so effective. Why? Controversy was not left out. The Aguero penalty and the Sterling goal.
All right, thank you very much. You've laid the groundwork for the basis of your argument. It's time for Nenye to respond. Nenye, you have 1 minute to tell us why you feel VAR was so great after match day 1 of the EPL. Your 1 minute starts now.
Thank you very much. The effect of referees' decision on football matches cannot be overemphasized. Referees are humans. They are bound to make mistakes that affect the result of matches. The VAR was introduced to curb the anomalies that associated with referees' decision, and I believe that it has helped to a large extent. Following its use in the EFL and the FA Cup, the VAR was introduced in the Premier League last weekend for the first time. And to me, it proved to be great and very effective. My opponent talked about the statistics for the VAR on the match day 1, talking about 70 incidents checked and 3 overturned decisions. For me, which they were actually correct decisions. They were actually the best decisions that could have been taken because there were tight calls that were made, and we saw from the VAR replays that they were actually correct. And they also had the average review time of 27 seconds, which is not so bad in my opinion.
All right, thank you very much. You've saved us some 5 seconds. We appreciate it. We will take it. Good. Once again, if you're listening in, you may already begin to form alliances based on the 1 minute of opening comments. Peter is the guy, Neye is the lady. Peter spoke first, Neye spoke after. It's up to you to make up your mind. The next 5 minutes will give you ample opportunities to do so. If you are unsatisfied after the 5, they will have 1 minute each to close their arguments. You can join the conversation on social media. On Facebook, our official group, official page is Nigeria Info 993. You can leave your comments. We'll take some of those comments. But importantly, you have to vote on the live stream. You'll see their names. Is it up yet? I guess it will be up during the 5 minutes. You will see Peter. You would see Neye. So you can vote for whoever one of them impresses you more. Remember, not based on your personal opinion on the subject, but on their performance. Okay? On Twitter, we are also streaming live through our YouTube channel, which is embedded there. You'll see the YouTube live streaming. You can watch and follow, but that's not where you will vote, unlike on Facebook where you vote on the stream. On Twitter, you don't vote on the stream. You will go to the tweet pinned to the top of our Twitter profile at Nigeria Info FM. That is where you are going to vote either Peter or Neye. You will see the topic. You will see the positions. It is up to you. That said, gentlemen, lady, 5 minutes to battle this out. We will implore you guys to give yourself opportunity, room to talk so that your points can stand out. If it gets too rowdy, well, your good work may be lost in the cacophony, and I hope it doesn't happen. Okay? If we feel the need to step in and stop you, interrupt you, we will. Would prefer if we didn't have to. Your 5 minutes begin right now.
Now, the Premier League said any goal scored or created with the use of the hand or arm will be disallowed this Premier League season, even if it is accidental or not. Now, there is a certain match between Leicester City and Wolves. An incident happened, which is a Wolves player, Willy Bully, touched the ball accidentally. We all agree it was accidental. Now, if the same rule can be applied to you as an attacking player, then the same rules should be applied if you are in the opposition box. Because I might be in my box and a ball might accidentally touch my hand. It cannot be considered as goals. Then if it touches my hand in my box, it should be penalty.
Excuse me.
There should not be,
it's actually good you mentioned the Willy Bully incident, because it is actually because of this Willy Bully last season. He scored a goal against Manchester City. Excuse me, you made a point.
Pick that instance. Now, there are different points. There are different times.
This situation
and there was a ball might touch a defender in his own box.
It happened in the match between Watford and Brighton. The ball touched one of the Brighton players' hand. Yes.
From
because it did not make him unnecessarily bigger. That was why the call was not given.
Then the handball was an incident, was an accident.
But the call was not given.
VAR checked it. If they said VAR said it is not a goal. The referee checked it, because
and VAR also agreed with him.
If I accidentally touch the ball, it should be penalty. They should make the rules consistent.
The goal that was allowed was the best decision.
The rules should be consistent.
That goal that was allowed was the best decision. And then let's talk about the Sterling case.
Okay, the Sterling case.
Let's talk about the Sterling case. The goal, yes. That was a tight decision.
Excuse me,
wait, you've made your point. That was a tight decision. And offside is an offside, please. no matter the position,
now,
be it 1 meter, be it 1 millimeter, be it 1 millimeter, that is it. And
the rule of the game said every part of the ball must have crossed the line before it can be considered. Because
VAR
then it should be applied.
No, you can't give me that.
Let me explain the hand. My hand is longer than your hand.
Yeah.
Fine. If I'm to stretch my hand on a line, how would they be able to judge that my shoulder
I'm asking you, was that an offside call or not? VAR reviewed it. VAR reviewed it and overturned that decision. That was the best decision. And we know how much goals contribute to winning the EPL.
I want the ball to be played,
that was an offside call. Whether you like it or not, that was an offside call. And let's talk about this issue of encroachment. Let's talk about the issue of encroachment.
Showing a shoulder does not show.
But do you realize that penalty, Aguero's penalty that was retaken, was actually a case of encroachment in the penalty box? Was that a right call or not? Was that a right call or not?
Koizuma and Christensen
was that a right call or not? No, I'm asking you a question. You are not giving me an answer.
Was playing that penalty.
I'm not talking about Rashford's penalty. I'm talking about Aguero's penalty that was retaken. There was encroachment, and he was the same player who cleared the ball. Then he was the same player who cleared the ball. That was why it was. I don't understand. Where's the consistency?
The VAR should be consistent in his judgment.
It was consistent last weekend. That was just it. It was consistent last weekend. 3 decisions overturned
the pace of the game.
Excuse me.
Now is
there fun in losing a game because we do not want to waste time?
A goal will be
is there fun in losing a game when there was no
review?
Okay, thank you.
Seconds.
You talked about.
It took them 1 minute 38 seconds. That is 98 seconds. To review the goal.
I mentioned earlier that the VAR had an average record review time of 27 seconds overall. You're not going to base it on one match.
Because
overall on one match. You cannot base it on one match. Exactly. Thank you.
And before that match,
that came off the arm of the player.
The game was
the arm of the player.
At that time when the goal was scored,
if that goal had been allowed,
51,
that could go a long way.
That is against Leicester.
Okay.
When the goal was disallowed, it killed the momentum of the Wolves player.
Excuse me, what are you talking about momentum? Would you rather a team lost a game because of a bad decision?
Then it has not erased every controversial from the game.
Would you rather have a game lost because of a controversial decision?
Assessing the VAR on match day 1, the English FA can do better. The FA can do better. And there is breaking communication. The match between Liverpool and Wolves.
It wasn't used.
It took them.
It wasn't used.
It was used.
It wasn't used.
It was not called upon. It was used. Now it was used in 2 incidents.
It wasn't used because part of the 70 checks that were used did not involve the Liverpool Norwich game.
Now before the second half, before the kick of the second half, we all saw it. The VAR technology assistants have to call one of the assistants they were not getting the signal from Stoke Play Park in West London, which is the headquarters of VAR.
Okay.
Imagine if a match is going on, are you going to stop an incident, a football match, because the signal is weak? The English FA spent 2 years preparing for this.
All right. Thank you very much. So, a number of times when I was tempted to stop the conversation, and then I will let it go. It looks like, how do I say it? In any case, we've taken certain decisions from the next round, which will limit the amount of time allotted for contestants to go head to head. Rather, we are likely going to reduce it to 2 minutes so that we can have greater clarity and spread those other minutes into a more clear-cut conversation where you guys get to go one after the other and make your points for clarity's sakes, like the kinds you find in maybe election debates and all of that, where somebody makes an assertion, the other person is allowed to respond, and then you come back. I think that's where we have. I shouldn't say I think that's where we are going in the next round. Healthy debate. I do hope, though, that we were able to get as much as we should. Good. Having said that, you guys have both a minute each to round up your conversation for clarity's sakes. And this is it. Just that 1 minute. If you haven't voted yet, I will implore you, wait for this final minute. Wait for this final minute to make up your mind as to who you want to vote. Is it Peter, whose argument is that the VAR after match day 1 of the Premier League was not so great, or Neye, the lady who says it was great? Please pay attention. Go to our social media portals on Facebook. The page is Nigeria Info 993. The live stream is there. You are going to vote on the live stream. You'll see their name across the live stream. Vote for either one of them. If you are voting on Twitter, the tweet is pinned to the top of our profile. Okay? At Nigeria Info FM. However, you might see a video, a live stream of the studio there, embedded also on our Twitter page. Just click on the live stream. It's coming from our YouTube channel. Peter, you have 1 minute to close your argument. Your 1 minute starts now.
The VAR in reviewing penalty already is safe. Is hard for goalkeeper to save a penalty. They are adding more burden on the shoulder of the goalkeeper, telling the goalkeeper a part of his line must be on the touchline. It is hard for penalty to be saved already, because penalty conversion rate is over 70% to saving rate. That should be considered in VAR review. Consistency in the part of VAR. If a ball is accidentally touched my hand in my box, it should be penalty. Since a goal can be overturned if it is accidentally, we all agree that the Willy Bolly incident was 100% accidental. Now, in the emotions, the fans on the field, they were not sure of his decision. Number one example is the Kun Aguero goal. They thought first, the VAR showed first that it is like the keeper has gone beyond his line, which later on they let us to know that it is Declan Rice that went above his line. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Your 1 minute up. Naya, you have 1 minute to make a case for VAR technology on match day 1 of the Premier League as to why you think it was great. Your minute starts now.
One of the reasons why the VAR was created was to check for clear and obvious errors and to ensure that serious missed incidents are corrected. The incident in the Leicester City versus Wolves match was a perfect example. Also, the one we saw in the match between West Ham and Manchester City. I mean, look at it. Sterling was offside, but only by a margin. We know how much goals contribute to the success of the EPL and how teams can actually win the EPL. Then we also talked about, there's also the issue of encroachment in the penalty box. The reason why that penalty was retaken was not because of the goalkeeper, but because of the encroachment in the penalty box. Last season, the EPL referees had a 82% key match incident accuracy. With the introduction of VAR, it is bound to increase. 35 tight offside calls last season. Just imagine if we had the VAR, which is here to stay and which is going to be effective in the long run. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You've saved us 10 seconds. Just for your general education, just to put out there, there is no football team in England by the name of Leicester City. Peter has done Leicester, and I had heard you say Leicester before, and now you two are now Leicester. The club is named after the city. There is a city called Leicester. I know it's spelled Leic, whatever it is, but it's Leicester. Leicester City. Okay? All right? It's actually from Leicester. There's Leicester Shire. Okay? So we come to the votes. Again, when you vote, let me remind you. You are voting based on the totality of the package, not merely on your own personal beliefs. How did they mash out their points? How did they deliver? What did they sound like? Who would you listen to? Who commanded your attention? So it's important you put all of these things into perspective going forward. It's also a training ground. Some of these individuals that you hear themselves are not rookies when it comes to following the game or following sports. They know their trade. They know how to follow. What the training is about is how to put that ability, that skill into broadcast. Okay? A great sports writer may not be a great sports broadcaster. So we're putting all of that into considerations when we make the decisions, because we are trying to make sure we work on. So think of the totality of the arguments. That's what I've often told you, the experience I've often shared with you. More importantly, do not base it on your personal opinion. Okay? Don't base it on your personal opinion. So we'll go to the phone lines. We'll take 5, a maximum number of 5. If either of them gets 3 before we get to 5, it will be over. And then we'll go to the panel. The panel is made up of 3 on the night: Sarafina, Lizzie, and Sam. And then we'll go to social media, Facebook and Twitter. If there's any need for me to step in at any time and make a judgment call, I will. I've done it before. I may do it again, depending. But I try to use that privilege sparingly. Okay? Good. So let's go to the phone lines. The numbers are 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. A very interesting debate between Peter, the guy, and Nenye, the lady. How do you vote? Hello, good evening. Yes, please.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you?
I'm calling from Ayobo.
Welcome, my brother. How do you vote?
I vote for Chineye.
Okay. You want to tell us why? Not that you're obligated to.
No, she made some valid points.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Hello, good evening to you. Oh, yikes. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome. How do you...
My name is Mercy. I'm calling from K2.
Mercy, huh?
Yeah.
Welcome. How do you vote, Mercy?
I'm voting for Neye.
Okay.
He really made a valid point.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Voter number 3 now. Hi there. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm voting for Neye.
We didn't meet you.
I said I'm voting for Neye.
What's your name?
My name is Gibson.
Okay. Any specific reason why you are choosing to vote for Neye?
Yeah, all because she made a valid point.
Okay. You felt her points were valid. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Which ends the call vote. Neye taking the first 3. No need to go further because we'll get the same results. And Peter cannot get more than 2 maximally. So let's come to the panel vote. Before we come to the panel vote, a quick reminder: if you haven't voted, go and vote on Facebook, and Twitter will come to you finally to make a decision. Facebook is Nigeria Info 993. That's our page. You will see the live stream on our page, and you'll see their names on the video. Click on either Peter or Neye, depending on how you'd rather vote. Also on Twitter, you'll see a tweet pinned to the top of our profile at Nigeria Info FM, alongside the live stream, which you can also see on our profile. Okay, so vote either Peter or Neye. Let's come to the panel. Who wants to go first? Ladies first or gentlemen first?
I think Lizzie should go first.
No, I'm not doing it. You guys are
Lady or Lizzie?
You guys, okay.
Okay, somebody should volunteer. Who wants to volunteer?
Let me volunteer.
Yeah,
that
that's
right
why I
Okay.
love her. She always want to go
First of all, I'm going to start off with Peter, right? In his 1 minute, I felt that he made a good argument, right? He talked about 70-something% reviewed, cases were reviewed, and just 3 of those decisions were overturned and all of that. But then when he came to the head-to-head, I felt like there was a lot of misinformation going on there. Like in his 1 minute, giving that fact was not even for your favor, because you were telling us, okay, this thing reviewed this, but then it wasn't even in your favor. And a lot of times during the argument, I had to look at Peter like, what are we actually talking about? Are we talking about VAR itself, or we're talking about the rules of the game? Your grasp was with the rules of the game.
Let me show you what I wrote. I wrote it here.
Yeah.
Rules of the game, or VAR.
Yeah, you know,
on my
like,
note.
What was it? So he kept going about the rules of the game, this, that, and VAR is not an actual person. It's a computer. So in your argument, somebody listening will think, who be this VAR self? We be. It's not an actual person. So you review it.
Wasn't it Neye's job to call him out?
Yes, that's how I'm still going to go to it. You review it, and then the referee actually makes that call, makes that decision. Okay, so for your argument was not about VAR, it was about the rules of the game. You took it about. I was also going to mention the Leicester thing and then the penalty thing. I understand that, okay, this is an argument, this is a counter, but at the end of the day, what is the point, right? If I'm on air, I have a responsibility to make sure that it might be little things. Okay, if Leicester was just a new team or somebody just signed yesterday, it's forgivable. But they've been there for years. Penalty has been there for years. All those little fact check, yeah, they make sense. Maybe like, yeah, if I know, I might know.
So why did you go from penalty to penalty?
I kept hearing penalty from him.
Oh, so you were chiding him.
Yes.
So let's educate.
So I said penalty, then I said penalty.
Okay,
so for me, so that was, I kept listening to those things, right? I know that, yeah, if you said penalty in the form of trying to make a joke, yes, the whole Leicester thing was very pronounced. So I understand that, like, okay, this is a competition, but those little things count, because at the end of the day, it's the job of the broadcaster to actually say those things.
It can distract your audience,
yeah,
and they might not take you seriously.
If it's a lingo of the job you're doing, some things are sports lingo, some things are entertainment lingo. If it's just general English, I could say, okay, yeah, let's forget it. But then this is sport lingo, this is a sport show, this is a sports competition. So for me, that took me off. I was like, Peter, why are we here? Maybe listening to our show was not in your favor. And then for Naya, in the first 1 minute, yes, you did a good job. I like the fact that you brought on the whole average time thing. I felt you did a better job in your 1 minute and in your last minute. But during the counter time, there was the fact that you let Peter drag you into what is it called, into the rules of the game arguments as opposed to what it was actually about, was a problem for me. You kept dragging into the rules of the game and you kept going in, and you guys you changed it. So for me, that was your opportunity to call him out and make own it and own the entire thing. Like, this is not what we're talking about, this is what we're talking about. But he kept giving it to you and you kept taking it and you kept accept. So for me, that was a big problem. But for tonight, I'm going to vote for Naya, because I felt like, okay, on the generally she did better with her points, with her facts and everything, but it's based on the 1 minute before and the 1 minute after. But if it is really the counter, I was like, why am I here? What was the point of this conversation? So I'm going to vote for Naya, but I felt like the book could have done better in sticking to the point of the argument, and there's so many arguments surrounding VAR that could have been discussed. Is VAR, not the rules of the game. So I felt it could have gone better.
All right.
I'm going to vote for Naya.
Thank you very much. Naya takes your vote, takes Lizzie's vote, and there's plenty of general education for everybody there, which I appreciate. I'd made some notes and I was going to share. I think we've touched on them, which is good. Who wants to go next? Sarafina? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I can't wait. Suddenly say I have to go next.
Now, first of all, I want to say tonight's performance from Peter. I think so far this has been the best performance for me. Now, you talked about, Lizzie pointed out something that I was talking about the rules of the game. But the thing is, if you want to make use of VAR, you still have to visit
go back
the rules
the
of the
rules,
game.
certainly.
I think that was the angle from which Peter was taking his argument from. Now, from the onset, I have always been in support of VAR coming to the Premier League. But Peter was able to throw out some points. He talked about controversy.
It gave you reasonable doubt.
Yes. Now, in the game between Crystal Palace and Everton, there was a challenge between from Milivojevic on Bernard. That challenge was supposed to be a red card incident. The VAR did not award that red card, and at the end of the day, the referee could not do anything simply because VAR felt like this is not a red card incident. That was one point for me. Now, he talked about the issue of one of the VAR assistants trying to get in touch with one of the coaches, one of the referees on that day. I'm trying to record the game. He pointed out
Liverpool.
That they were having poor signal. So are you trying to say that when a very, very important game is going on, simply because of a bad signal, the referee at that point will have to use his discretion, or the VAR would not be called to action? That is also another point for me. And also, he talked about he pointed out something about the rules of the game, about the handball and the rest of it. Mind you, in as much as we're talking about VAR, when you come to handball, if you want to if you want to use the VAR to actually judge if a certain incident should be awarded a penalty, talking about handball, you still need to go back to the rules of the game. What does the rules say as regards handball? Should we consult the VAR according to the rules itself? So you would understand that at that point, if you are going by the rules, whatsoever you apply to the opposition should also be applied to the other to the other team, for you to be able to balance up the equation. Like, from what he said, there's been controversies because VAR can award this in a particular game. In the next game, it doesn't award it. Same incident, same kind of, same from the same angle. So you'd understand when he said controversies. I had no other option than to just stick with Peter.
Okay.
So my vote goes for
So Peter takes your vote. Thank you. Sam?
Okay, I think Lizzie and Sarafina has made mention of what I also had in mind. I think that much was obvious from the debate. But what I would just add is I thought Peter started off very, very poorly for me and ended very nicely, especially with the 1 minute closing argument. Noye at some point struggled to counter him, maybe, and I like Peter. He wasn't, he wasn't shouting. He was very strong, but he wasn't shouting, and that gave Noye the opportunity to also make her input. But at some point, she couldn't be strong or affirmative. She did make some very good points. I mean, she talked about he was complaining about the shoulder thing with the VAR, and she made mention that the VAR has to be the most affirmative that we can go with. It's more cleaner in terms of decision making and all that. I thought that was very good. And he also made mention of emotions, and Sarafina said it. I think you struggled, Peter, with managing or marrying rather the rules of the game and the VAR decisions. It was very clear, and at some point you left me confused. I was thinking rules of the game, VAR. I was trying to get my thoughts right. So I think there you did shoot yourself in the foot. But on the basis of arguments, putting the debate into argument, presentation style, who would I rather listen to? I thought Noye had it. I would rather listen to Noye because she was calm. But putting your arguments in this debate together, I think I would slightly lean towards Peter. He, for me, had a better, arguments. Only that he just slightly struggled with putting it together. Noye on our part slightly confused me at some point. But on the basis of presentation and this argument, I would lean towards Peter.
So, Peter takes Sam's vote. So now here's the interesting thing. Before we go to social media, there are a few observations I made. One, this is the most ruffled I have seen Neye in the battle.
Yes.
The most ruffled. She was really, really ruffled. Whatever strategy Peter employed took her off her game. She struggled in the debate. Actually in that debate. Now, I have seen some other opponents try similar strategies. She had always held her own. But today, not quite.
Peter was different.
In effect, what then happened was that Neye struggled to make her points when she wanted to. At the point she was like, look, I let you make... And then she started. She was magnanimous at the start. She let Peter make his points. And I guess she was hoping for reciprocity, which never came, which was why she was like, look, I let you make my point, your point, let me make my point. It never happened. Peter's voice was really, really strong. Even when I felt he was talking off mic, at a point I was checking his angle because sometimes he was talking over his mic and it was still very loud. I had to push him down a little bit to balance up the level. And I was looking at the mic to say, why is it so loud even when he's talking off mic? And Neye maintained mic discipline almost throughout. And then she says, so that is credit to Peter, that somehow she was able to ruffle Neye and make her sweat at her own game. The next thing then becomes how. And I do stick with Elizabeth in the talk about rules of the game. Yes, I understand. The VAR deals with the rules of the game. But VAR or no VAR, what Peter was saying is whether it's somebody deciding or VAR, the point was he was just attacking the rules of the game and not assessing the VAR. But that was my problem that I had with him. And I felt that, you could go to the rules and come back and do the application, how we should work with VAR. That said, Neye wasn't prepared to counter him when he kept going away from VAR and dwelling more. And there was there were just too many wrong information that Peter gave that, it was just, But again, he was called out on some, he wasn't called out on the other. Like, he talked about the success rates And when he said there were 3 decisions, 2 goals were overturned, and just before he preceded that by saying that he didn't get them all correctly. The fact that it gives 2 and nullifies 1, or it nullifies 2 and gives 1, does not mean it is correct or incorrect in, The thing is, the VAR makes that decision. He talked about offside, and he was talking about stretching their hand. When my hand is longer than you, are you trying to tell me my hand will be longer? But the rule of the game does not take your hand into account when in an offside situation. It doesn't matter how. The rule states that any part of your body with which you can score a goal. So that would just be your shoulder, your upper shoulder, not your lower shoulder, your upper shoulder. In that case, the whole thing about longer than you does not really count. Nanya let that slip. You were supposed to deal with him. So there were so many points that this Peter was making that Nanya could have countered. She didn't counter. It's just not vintage, not vintage,
in fact, I
not vintage Nanya today.
On my whatever, I actually wrote misinformation in capital letters. I was like, no, because at the point I got to that point, like there's so many things that are not just right. If I was listening to this, I'm going to leave this argument very misinformed, and that was a problem.
And there was just too much that was left to die in this conversation. I needed to hear why are we reviewing VAR in the EPL and not VAR generally? I wanted to understand the application, the difference between the application of the VAR system in the EPL, which is quite different from what we saw at the World Cup, which was quite different from what is general, and that didn't come out. And it should have, it could have. You understand? All these rules, I want to see the application of it, not the rule itself, but the application of it via the VAR system. It won't matter whether it's the VAR system that makes it, for instance, when Peter was talking about goalkeepers, it's not fair on goalkeepers. It's hard enough to save penalties. To now come and say that they have to put their foot, that is not VAR's fault. That is the rule. That is the rule. VAR is only there to interpret it. And in the EPL, we know that they are using the VAR a lot less. Many people applaud the VAR in the EPL compared to the one at the Women's World Cup. It is better. It's, they use it less times. There were 10 games and there were only 70, and the numbers. I expected Nanya to get the numbers because the success rate of the VAR was really, really high. Was it 100%? Maybe not, but it was close to 100%. There were hardly many situations where you could fault the VAR. The VAR got it right. So that you needed to drive home, and that was it. So let's quickly go to social media. How does Facebook vote? How does Twitter vote?
And taking a few comments from Facebook. Babatunde Adeshina Abidin says, Nayen has my vote. She composed her points perfectly. Musiba Ofashina says, I vote for Nayen as her point is very clear. Onyinyeri Daniel Onyema says, Nayen, I vote for you. David says, Peter for me made good points. And Peter KN says, Nayen all the way. But the vote on Facebook says Nayen has 65% of the votes, while Peter has 35% of the votes on Facebook. On Twitter, of the 119 votes we had, 44% went to Nayen and Peter had the remaining 56%. So Peter wins Peter wins Twitter while Nayen takes Facebook.
So Peter takes Twitter
and Nayen takes Facebook.
So Nayen takes the phone lines, takes Facebook. Peter takes Twitter, the panel, and Twitter, which makes it relatively even. Now, when it's so relatively even, I said I could come up to use my veto power. I was going to use my veto power if Nayen had cleared all the phone lines and all of social media, considering how precariously close the panel vote came. I would have used it. I would have used it. And this is why I would have used it. I would have used it based on the fact that on one point, like Buchi will always say, futuristically, what do you see? However, I will not use it. And I will not use it for two reasons. One, because Peter took Twitter, his case is further bolstered. Or because he shared social media. Naye swept the phone lines. Peter won the panel narrowly, and they shared social media. So I will not use it on that score, because that Twitter that Peter took means it's closer than before. The second point is this. While I feel strongly like keeping Naye in the race or letting her proceed, I'm not going to reward Naye for an under par performance while punishing Peter for an above par. This is about the strongest argument I've seen Peter make. And the truth of the matter is, when that draw was made, I felt sorry for Peter. He worked. I remember that his first reaction was to shout Mogbe in the group. He found a strategy that unsettled Naye. Whether it's a strategy that unsettled Naye or Naye is just not up to it tonight, I don't know. But I would let the decision stand. So having said that, Naye would take phone and Facebook. Peter would take panel and Twitter. And by so doing, Peter would progress automatically to the next round. Congratulations, Peter.
Thank you, sir.
You get to choose when your next battle will be. For Naye, it is not over. There is one battle left. Two ladies go head to head, after which we will make our final decision as to who progresses or who gets evicted tonight. Peter, could you please let me know?
Tuesday, 27th August, number 2.
Tuesday, 27th August.
Wow, you like this?
Number 2.
You're back here.
Tuesday, 27th August, number 2. So that's, I push Peter there. You go up against whoever is number 3. That's in the second battle of the day. The first battle will be between Eno and Okwe on that day. So thank you very much. We'll take a quick break. You'll maintain your positions as it is. And when we come back from the break, we'll switch to the second battle. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info. Counter the fans battle.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's game on. Kanta.
Welcome back to Counter, the fan battle, the final battle of the night. We have gone way over time already. Battle 2 on the night and battle 37 in the series pitches Molat against Chinwe. Molat is Mansoura Omawumi Olatunji, Molat for short. She's a graduate and she's still in the labor market. And however, she's also a, sports analyst who knows her salt. She's Team Mourinho globally, and locally she's Gateway United FC. She stays somewhere in K2. On Twitter she is at Mansoura1412. At Mansoura with an H at the end, 1412. On Instagram she is at Molat Sport Gist. MOLATSPORTGEGIST. Welcome to the battle tonight, Molat.
Thanks for having me, Femi.
It's a great pleasure. Her opponent, Chinwe Onuaha. She's known fondly and popularly as Wendy. She's a copywriter and an advertising practitioner. She supports Manchester United, still trying to make up her mind as to who to support locally. She stays somewhere in Ajao Estate in Lagos. On Twitter, she is at Chinwe OJ. Same as Instagram, at Chinwe OJ. Chinwe, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Huh?
Thanks, Femi.
Are you ladies good to go?
Yeah. I think we're good.
Yeah. Are you ladies good to go?
Yes.
You're good to go. So, what is the battle tonight? I told you it will be two assessments. The second assessment tonight. We've asked these two ladies to assess Chelsea after the United game. Assess Chelsea after United game. Were they unlucky or were they shambolic? We put it into a draw and Molat picked unlucky. Chelsea were unlucky after assessing their performance against United. Chinwe picked shambolic, that they were indeed shambolic. A quick reminder, the positions these two ladies are defending may not necessarily reflect their personal opinion. I don't know what their personal opinion is. I've not asked them. But we put it into a draw and this is what they picked and this is what they will defend, whether they believe it personally or not. In asking you to please appreciate and respect that, we would say when you vote for either of them, please do not base it on your personal opinion of the subject, but on the performance on the night. We trust you will do justice to it. You can join the conversation on Facebook. Our page is Nigeria Info 993. The live stream is up and running, and the voting portal will open on the live stream very shortly. You will see their names, Molat, Chinwe. Click on either one to vote for the one who impressed you the more. For the sake of this contest tonight, Molat will be contestant number 1, Chinwe will be 2, meaning Molat will go first. All right? Pretty simple. If you are watching the live stream on a device where their names block their faces, because we'll split the screen, they are facing each other in the studio. They are sitting across each other, facing each other, but on the screen, we'll split the screen so that it would seem they are sitting side by side. If on your device, their names or the topic of the debate blocks you, there is an X at the top. You can click it off, and then you can click that same location back to bring it back on when it's time to vote. okay? But it could be at the bottom of the stream. On Twitter, you can follow the stream from our YouTube channel, which has been embedded atop our Twitter profile. But we are going to pin the voting tweet at the top of our profile on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM, at Nigeria Info FM. So check the pin tweet to vote either Molat or Chinwe. Having said that, once again, I've asked the two ladies to assess Chelsea after the game against United. Molat will go first. Molat believes they were unlucky. She has 1 minute to tell us why she feels they were unlucky, and it starts now.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to state that there are two sides to a coin. We have fans who believe football is all about the goals and the winning, while we have fans who watch beyond the 90 minutes. They go on to check the stats and see which side really do better and not about the winning. And thank God, same club, these two clubs, Manchester United versus Chelsea, they played the first season when Mourinho was appointed as the United manager, and Chelsea beat them with the same goal margin, 4-0. And we had the fans saying they lost shambolically, that they believe they can do better. It's better for them to lose and play a modern football. So the game over the weekend, I just want to conclude, Chelsea were very unlucky because they created more chances, and they were so unlucky that they created more chances and have the highest ball possession.
Thank you very much. There'll be time for you to further expand on your points and expatiate on them. Did you notice I said expand and expatiate? I didn't say expatiate. It's not. There's no word like that. So maybe you add that. Please check it. Expatiate and expand, two different words, similar meanings, but there's no word like expatiate, which I hear a lot of. Chinwe, you have 1 minute to respond and tell us why you think Chelsea were shambolic. Your minute starts right now.
Thank you, Femi. Yoruba people say, Ojulati mo beto madun, meaning that soup wey go sweet, you can tell from the look. Why am I driving at? If you look at the team selections, Chelsea got it wrong from team selection. If you look at that team selection, you will realize that there were a lot of inexperience in that team. How do you pick an inexperienced Abraham over a Giroud? How do you put a Pulisic on the bench? It is not done anywhere. You're talking about a man you have already reinforced themselves with a Maguire, and you put an Abraham there to fight a Goliath. How do you want it to work? Then if you look at the game again, you realize that the basic football principle was missing. Simple thing: attack as a unit, defend as a unit. That wasn't there. Yes, they got the attack at some point, but defensively they were all over the place. I didn't even know what was happening in the defense. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, interesting start to the conversation. You can join in that conversation. Drop your comments. We'll take some of them before we take the votes. All things remaining constant. All other things remaining the same. Don't forget, our social media portals are much the same. On Facebook, it's Nigeria Info 993. That's our official Facebook page, where you will see the live stream, and you'd also see the voting portal, which would be up in a few seconds if it's not up already. You would see Molat, you would see Chinwe. Click on either name to vote for whoever you prefer. Molat, give our argument first. Chinwe followed. It's up to you to make your choice. The next 5 minutes will give you ample opportunity to do so. If it doesn't, there will be 1 minute for each of them at the end of the 5-minute debate. On Twitter, at Nigeria Info FM, we will pin the voting tweet to the top of our profile. Also look out for the live stream from our YouTube channel on at Nigeria Info FM. Molat, Chinwe, 5 minutes to argue out this matter, and that time starts now.
Hey, what's up, my people? This is Two-Face Idibia, and you're listening to Femi and the Gang on Nigeria Info FM. One love, man.
Thank you for being polite and letting Tubaba land. Your 5 minutes can now start.
Thank you. Chinwe, you made mention of a team selection. We are talking about a Chelsea team that have signing ban. We are talking about a Chelsea team that had many of his starting 11 last season starting 11 injured. There is no Kante. Kante was forced to play that game. There is no William. There was no more David Luiz in the team. David Luiz was the raw.
But they had
defense.
preseason. They had preseason. The excess of preseason is for you to access what you have. The excess of preseason is to look at your team and access the strengths and the weaknesses. If you watch Chelsea's preseason, these weaknesses were already there.
Because
they
have no option. They have no option.
If you don't have
option,
option,
going to use if you don't use Zuma?
What you have.
If you don't use Zuma, what are you going to use?
Make what you have work. You look at your team and you think of what are the strengths, and you work with those strengths. You try to minimize your defense, your weaknesses.
He tried to do that, and that is why they were unlucky. That is why they were unlucky.
That is not unlucky. That is being shambolic. That is you not knowing what
5 minutes into the game, Tammy Abraham hit a hood work.
Yes.
In the first half, the same thing reoccurred with Emerson.
Yes.
And David De Gea was forced to make some saves.
Football is played for 90 minutes, not 5 minutes. And football is played for 90 minutes. If you sleep at any point during the game, it will cost you. And that's what happened to Chelsea.
They made mistakes that they paid for. But they were unlucky.
That is the part.
If Tammy Abraham go as went in, we won't be here discussing this now. Because it's going to be an early goal. It's going to be 4 goals with 4 mistakes.
You hit the woodwork and then you gift a very stupid penalty.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. We are talking about Zuma that wasn't in the team last season. We are talking about this that played Leicester game last season. Chelsea had no choice. They have signing ban.
You know that you have signing ban. You will minimize your weaknesses. Mind you during that game knew their weaknesses. Midfield. They didn't have midfield. What did they do? They changed strategy in second half. And they said throwing the ball over. That is what you do as a coach.
If Emerson ball, if Tammy Abraham ball, if Barkley shot have entered the net, you won't be here talking about this.
If you don't have strategy, you can't go to a game without strategy. And you depend on luck. If you want to win football game, it's all about strategy.
4-2-3-1.
Man, you use the same thing.
With intention to block the midfield.
That is the intention. That is why there is an half time.
And he really
tried that. That is why there is an half time.
They got that 3 goals because they went forward to go and look for an equalizer.
It was very obvious that Chelsea had issues with their defense. You bring in a Kante. You leave Kante in the bench.
Kante was injured. He played
80 minutes.
He played 10 minutes and went back to injury.
When the game was over,
there are things that are more than football. You consider the player health before you consider the game.
Yes, I agree with you.
To play and go on live injury.
What happened to
so there is nothing Lampard could have done.
When you know that your defense is not
they defended as one.
Was because they knew
they defended as one.
Okay.
But the 4 defenders that he used. Only Aspilicueta played throughout last season. We have Emerson that was not used by Sarri. Christensen was not used. And we are bringing in Kozuma that was playing a pattern from Everton.
Did they play together during the season?
They played together.
And you did not notice the pattern. You couldn't find out the best way to use them.
He used them.
You could not find the best way to use them. So you're saying that for the rest of the season, Chelsea will not possess the ball. Chelsea will keep consuming 4-0.
They cannot concede 4-0.
That's what you're saying. Because the coach cannot decide how to use them. That's what you're saying. That coach cannot decide how to use his players.
During the time of Guardiola at Barcelona.
What happened to Barcelona? Do you know packing the bus is a style of play?
You pack the ball with a defensive. You pack the ball with players that are very great at defense.
Everybody learns how to defend.
They can't pack the ball with that kind of defense.
Every player can learn how to defend. If you look at when Mourinho plays, when he realizes that he doesn't have a good back, which he didn't have when he was in Man U, everybody from your striker, everybody goes back.
And Mourinho considered 4-0 against the same Chelsea.
Yes.
Mourinho considered 3 goals against Man City. Mourinho was beaten by Huddersfield, packing the balls. doesn't matter. It depends on the kind of players that you have.
My point
Guardiola at Barcelona has no defense,
during this
but
game,
he managed to block his midfield. But the midfield of Chelsea, they are looking out for an early goal, which if they have gotten, we won't be here talking this
early
because
goal for a
Man
90 minutes game.
I'm telling you,
90 minutes game.
The first goal of Man U.
For 90 minutes.
The first goal of
All right. Thank you very much for that spirited debate. It will come down to the final minutes allotted, both of you, to close your arguments. Again, please, if you haven't voted, well, you might hold your breath for another 2 minutes, one each for both of these contestants to make your final decision. And you're going to vote via the phones right after. The panel will also vote. We are on social media. On Facebook, the Nigeria Info page is Nigeria Info 993. You go to the page, click on the live stream. You have to watch the live stream and vote on the live stream itself. You would see Molat and Nenye. Molat started the argument. Nenye followed. Chinwe. Pardon me. Molat started the argument. Chinwe followed. Decide on who you want to vote for. Don't forget, don't base your voting on your personal opinion on the subject matter. Base it on the performance. Base it on the performance of the two people. You may vote for one of them, even if the part of the point they are defending is not what you believe in, but you were impressed at the way they went about defending it. Don't forget also that the parts that they are defending is not necessarily their own personal opinion of the subject matter. On Twitter, it's at Nigeria Info FM. Okay? The tweet on which you'll vote has been pinned to the top of our profile. You'll see there. And then look out on Twitter for the live stream of our YouTube of our YouTube video embedded there on Twitter. You cannot miss it. Having said that, Molat, you'll go first. Close your argument as to why you felt, after assessing Chelsea's performance against Man United, they were unlucky. Your 1 minute starts now.
Chelsea had 7 shots on target. They would work twice in the first half. They have over 50 ball possession, and we are talking about a team that have 5 corners, and they have created over 15 scoring chances, which they misused. In the first 20 minutes of the game, Man United penetrated the Chelsea defense just twice, which the first goal come from Zuma Hero. And Zuma is a kind of player that play kick and forward from Everton, brought into the club to play a kind of tiki-taka from the back. They need to possess the ball. That is the way Lampard wants to play his formation, but Zuma doesn't get it right. Then there is a comment from Peter Schmeichel, a former United player. He said to him, it doesn't look like a 4-0 match. It's more like a game of 4 mistakes for 4 goals. I am right stated that Sammy was very unlucky to hit the post in his first 5 minutes. If not for that, we won't be here discussing this. So to me, they were very unlucky.
Thank you very much for closing. Chinwe, it's time for you to close. Tell us why you feel Chelsea were shambolic. Your 1 minute commences right now.
Thanks for me. Like I said, a coach, the duty of a coach, before you go into any game, the first thing you have to do is to be aware of your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. What happened in that game was that the Man U's weakness was very clear, midfield, but Chelsea never capitalized on it. Secondly, they were not even aware of their own weaknesses, because if you were, you will not play a high line against a Rashford, a Martial, and a James. You won't do that because you know that your backline is very weak, and those guys can hit you on the counter attack, and that's exactly what happened. You not talk about the players themselves. You talk about inexperience. What about the experienced guys? They didn't even come. They didn't even bring their A game into the play. We talk about what's his name? God. Pedro was selfish. Barkley I had no confidence there. As a creator, was very costly. It cost 2 goals, and he's an experienced guy.
All right. Thank you very much for the argument. Just so we could help each other. The goalkeeper Molat mentioned was Peter Schmeichel. That's the name. Schmeichel, and of course Aspilicueta. So there are a few things I also noted. Maybe I'll remember later. Let's get on with the voting now. We'll go straight to the phone lines in just a bit. As a reminder, we'll come last to you on social media, Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, Nigeria Info 993. Vote on the live stream of this battle between Molat and Chinwe. On Twitter, it's at Nigeria Info FM. Vote between Molat and Chinwe. The tweet is pinned at the top of our profile at Nigeria Info FM. On the phones, the numbers are 012770993, 012771993, 012772993, and 012773993. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening and welcome.
Yeah, this is Maiwa calling from Lagos.
Okay, welcome, Iowa.
Yeah, I give my vote to Chinwe.
Chinwe?
Yeah, the Chelsea team, they are actually symbolic because I won't call that one unlucky.
So that is your personal opinion, or are you basing it on Chinwe's performance?
The Chinwe's performance is actually on point.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As the first vote to Chinwe.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Oh, man.
Hello. Can't hear you.
It's Bayo.
Okay. Welcome, Dio.
Yeah, I'm voting for Moyo.
Molat.
You are voting for who?
Moyo.
It's Molat, not Moyo.
Okay, Molat. Sorry.
Why are you voting for Molat?
I like the way she made that point.
You like the way she made her point. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hi there.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, my brother.
Coach Ikechukwu from Otafam.
Welcome, Coach. How do you vote?
I'm voting for Chinwe. Jesse were extra symbolic. And I don't trust that their coach.
So that's your personal opinion.
I'm voting for Chinwe. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, we'll let the vote stand. Or what do you think? What do you think, panel?
No, I think that was a personal opinion. He didn't exactly clarify.
Ladies on the panel, what do you say?
Same. He came with so much venom.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say that was a very,
suggested.
very personal opinion.
Yeah.
Like Chelsea, West Ham, but
So, he didn't give enough to let us know that he based it on. Yeah.
I think it was the way he started. If he had said based on, but he went and he was a very personal opinion. I'm sorry to say that.
Okay, so that will nullify that vote then. We'll nullify the vote. Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, please.
I'll vote for Molat.
You are voting for Molat.
Yes, I think she was on the outside, but she could marshal her point very well.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your vote. Okay, next. No, it's 2 votes to 1.
Okay.
Sam, is it hunger? Hi there. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please.
I'm Nigerian Info.
Yes, you are on to Nigeria Info. Let's meet you.
Okay, yes. My name is Oluwamayowa from FX.
Welcome, Mayowa.
Yes.
So you had the argument.
Yes, I'll go with Molat.
Okay.
I'll go with because she buttressed a point well.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. So Molat will take the phone vote 3-1. 3-1. Which will bring us to the panel. Before we come to the panel, a quick reminder: if you haven't voted, you saw how social media had a massive impact on the last vote. So go and vote on Twitter and Facebook. Our Facebook page is Nigeria Info 993 for either Molat or Chinwe. Also, vote on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM for either Molat or Chinwe. Do it now, because right after the panel, we're coming to Facebook and Twitter. Okay. Panel, who wants to go first?
Sarafina.
Sam, I think Sam should go first.
Okay. Let me take the bull by the horn. Am I correct?
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. I
take the horn by the bull.
there's a taking, there's a horn, and there's a bull. And anyway, so the topic said assess see what you guys have done. Assess Chelsea's performance after the United game. Just to mention very quickly, I thought you both didn't,
do
justice to that. You kept on assessing Chelsea based on the United game. Yeah. Nothing suggested, okay, moving forward, Chelsea could actually do this based on that United game. But Chelsea were very poor based on nothing like that.
Trick
but
question.
Yeah, but I guess they both didn't, read in between the lines in that case. But talking about performances, I thought Molat had a very poor opening, and for understandable reasons, which you alluded to earlier, Femi. But her points, she talked about poor luck, rather. No, I don't think there's anything like poor luck on the parts of Chelsea. I don't know how much of a good argument that is. And she talked about lack of cohesion in the Chelsea backline. Chinwe tried to counter that by saying experience and all that, and she said if you look at the Kozuma, for instance, who hasn't played with Chelsea for 2 years, you could understand why there wasn't cohesion. But then again, you came with saying there's experience in that side, as Piliqueta and Pedro and Co. That could have counted. I thought that was very good from the both of you. And you had a great closing, Chinwe. You really stated, I was not particularly getting it until you summed it up in that closing for me, which was very good. Great closing again. I thought both of you had very good closings. It really, summed up what you've been trying to say all along. But then I must really, praise Molat. I thought despite the limitations, I don't know if that's such a good word to use now, Femi, despite that, she came up with very, very good points. I thought she made very, very good points. I'm not going to go over everything again, just a few you talked about. She said, if you have a poor defense, why not pack the bus? Then you said you can't pack the bus with that sort of defense. Saying, for instance, Mourinho did that with Chelsea and got hammered with United and got hammered by Huddersfield, got hammered by, I think, Chelsea, got hammered by City and all that. I thought that really was good. But again, I must really credit Molat. She, for me, gave or expatiated better. Expatiate. Yeah, I'm getting used to it. Expatiate. We're used to that expatiating, which is wrong. But I picked up. I'm gonna. That's gonna sink in right now. So she did better, giving more instances and all that. I will go with Molat because I thought she was brilliant.
Molat has Sammy's vote. Thank you, Sarafina.
I thought Lizzie wanted to go next. Okay.
Yeah, well, she started the first vote. So
okay, nice one from
since you put yourself in the middle, you will stay in that middle.
Nice one from both of them, I must admit. But the thing is, the counter has to do with points. So far, I think they actually brought their A game. Everybody, both parties, were trying to bring points and all that. Quickly, I would have to start with Chinwe. Okay. Chinwe talked about something. She talked about Chelsea assessing their games right from preseason. That there's been signs, that this team is a team that will struggle defensively. They've been poor. Then Molat had to counter and said, you're talking about a team that's currently suffering from a transfer ban. They can't bring in players. And also a team that also is having injury crisis because the players that were absent for Chelsea on that day were actually key players for them. We talked about N'Golo Kante, you talk about what's his name again, Giroud, and also the other players. So that for me was also a good point. Then she talked about the chances Chelsea actually had in the first half, talking about Emerson's shots, Tammy's chance, and the rest of it. Then Chinwe pointed out something. She said, when every coach going into a game, you need to do something. You study your opponent. You know their area of strength and weaknesses, so you can be able to know how to actually decipher how to work against their strength. Now, for me, that was a very, very good argument from Chinwe. And also, Molat on her own part, I would say she talked about something. When Chinwe made reference of parking the bus and the rest of it, she said something that you cannot park the bus when you don't have the right players to park the bus, which is actually true. She made reference to Pep Guardiola at Barcelona back then. And also parking the bus, there's a kind of football you play, your players will struggle to park the bus. It's just like telling the Manchester City team right now to go park the bus. Even when they have good defenders, they cannot do it because that is not their style of play. Parking the bus might look easy, but it's not really easy to those of us, to the players playing those games, because they are not used to parking the bus. You can only park the bus when you have the right player that are used to parking the bus. So for me, talking about points tonight, I think Molat was spot on, but she was a little bit calm. Like when she entered, she complained about her voice, but if you look at the argument, Chinwe had this higher pitch compared to Molat. But for me, spot on Molat for me tonight.
So Molat takes your vote.
Yeah.
All right. Lizzie?
Coming into this battle, right, hearing good points and all of that, I'm not going to do
Well, you guys, I'm losing you. It's like everybody is going down.
Okay,
down.
you can't hear me?
Could you please come in? Could you
hear me
use your
now? Is it
microphone,
better?
please?
Is it better?
Better now.
Okay, good. So I said, coming into this particular battle, right, okay, this was a topic that I already have where I stand. Right, I already have where I stand, like I knew it. Aside from the fact I'm a Manchester United fan and everything, I watched this game and all of that. So it was something that, okay, there were a lot of points I was expecting both of them to play. Like you said, it was a trick question, right? Assessing Chelsea on this particular game. They both did not do that, right? And for me, that's a big problem, because how am I going to decide on something that they both did not do, right? This was not about what happened before. It was about what happened. And I felt that most of where Molat brought her best point had nothing to do with the game. In her intro, she talked about Mourinho, right? When they came to the part that had something to do with Mourinho, she had points like left, right, center, and all of that. Like, understandably, she's a Mourinho fan. For me, I was looking at I'm going to choose based on the arguments that I felt, okay, centered more around the topic, right? Or less on what was outside the topic. So based on the arguments that I felt when both of them came into the topic, into the match itself, what happened on the pitch, what shouldn't have happened, right? How would this affect Chelsea, assessing them going forward? I felt that Chinwe did better in those areas, okay, based on the topic. So based on the topic itself and the points that they brought based on the topic itself, I'm going to vote for Chinwe.
So Chinwe has your vote. Interestingly, it didn't even occur to me. I just found out that Chinwe is a Man U fan, and Molat, although she doesn't say she's Chelsea, but she's a Mourinho fan, and I think many Mourinho fans started with his time at Chelsea.
Let me just say, I don't think Chelsea was shambolic.
Personally,
I won't use unlucky, but based on what happened, right? This team has potential, right? Manchester, what happened that they happened. They going forward, that the young guys that they had in and everything, Chelsea, they are going to do better. I don't think they're going to suffer a 4-0 defeat again this season, unless they meet a Manchester City or Liverpool. But let's leave that aside.
Okay.
I don't think shambolic was it.
Okay, for clarity, and this is for you, the panel. So, Sarafina, you made your choice based on points and nothing more. Points, yeah. Nothing, no other, you threw away every other, just points.
Now,
Sam,
the points I made my decision based on was actually because when Chinwe was trying to throw something at Molat, Molat actually had to answer in line with the counter that was coming from Chinwe. When they talked about parking the bus at that point, Chinwe made the point of parking the bus, and also Chinwe made the point of the team selection and the rest of it, and where she countered and said, you have to work with what you have, because the players, most of the experienced players were already out injured. So the coach at that point had to use what he has, which was also another point for me.
Okay, so Sam, you went for Molat. What was the standout factor for you?
a point again. I thought when we do this, we give a topic, and you're supposed to impress with that topic. I cannot overlook the performance on that. Aside the other factors, we are on this on the lookout for presentation and all that. It all comes back to this. There was a topic out there, and yes, Lizzie mentioned it. I think we all agree, Tarafina and myself, that they didn't do enough on that. But then when you bring the debate itself, I thought Mola, Tarafina said it all. She brought angles, packing the balls, experienced players and all that, and she responded very well to that. Yes, it didn't exactly preach what happens to Chelsea moving forward, but then this debate, I thought, again, I mentioned something about the limitations which she had, saying clarity and all that, but she gave points that for me, it bought me. It really, really bought me. So I thought the points she brought and the debate itself, she did better than Chinwe.
All right, Lizzie, you went for Chinwe for clarity's sake. I know you did mention it. What was your standout factor?
Okay, what was my standout factor for me in this thing? Okay, style was, I'm a big fan of style, right? I love facts. If you can give me statistics and all of that, but for me, I think when Chinwe started her this thing, I felt like she was shouting because I was sitting close to her, right? She had like she was shouting and all of that. Then I listened to Molat. These are like two different people with two different.
You listened to Molat first.
Yeah, I listened to Molat first before Chinwe. Okay, this is the first time I'm actually properly listening to Molat. Like, I've never been in the studio with her. All the battles I've listened to outside the studio haven't paid particular attention to Molat, except maybe coming across conversations in the group, right? So I realized that Molat had her style, right? She has affectations that Chinwe does not really have. But then there were areas like, because listening to clarity, listening to pronunciation, listening to things that she should have said in certain ways that she did not say. I was like, okay, good. Then I really liked Chinwe's intro, right? When it came to, for me, most times when I listen to battles, my deciders are usually in your intro and in your closing, because that is the point where you are you. Nobody's forcing you into a corner to defend. You're not defending. This is you. This is exactly everything that you have, right?
And we've seen some contestants not use those times well enough.
Mola didn't use it at all. She started making her point towards the end when she made. Okay, I think I noted that when she said something. She made reference to the game at the end. She made reference to the stats during the closing too. She made reference to a stat. I felt that she could have compared that stat to what Manchester United had. Right, so this is a stats between a team that had this particular percentage over a team that had that particular percentage. She did not do that. Okay, so for me, the style, like I always say, take out unnecessary information and keep what is this relevant to my conversation. Yes, so for me that was key. Right, these are two different people, two different styles that will succeed in two different kind of shows, but relevance to this argument was key for me in deciding, because I had to like overlook all the things.
All right, so let's go to social media and see how social media has voted. Sam?
Interesting, I must say, Femi. Split decision again. Starting with comments on Facebook, they're pouring in. The voting has closed, but they're pouring in. Chike Steven says, you people gave us criteria to vote, which are diction, presentation, points. So why are the panelists voting otherwise? Seems like they wanted Molat. Okay, Mustafa Olalekan Odukoya says, go Molat, so on point. Alexis Akaga says, Chinwe's points are convincing, I vote for Chinwe. AB Felix says, Molat all the way. Haremu says, Molat was spot on Molat, as Serafina said, Haremu. Molat says Kunle, and Chinwe goes Felix. And on social media, the vote says Molat 47 points, while Chinwe 53 points.
Which of the social media?
That's
platform?
Facebook. That's Facebook. 47 for Molat and 53 for Chinwe. So Chinwe takes Facebook. On Twitter, it's of the 176 votes, Molat 53% and Chinwe 47%. So Molat takes Twitter, while Chinwe takes Facebook.
All right, thank you very much. So it's done. Molat took the call votes. Also took Twitter. Molat took calls. Molat took the panel. Molat took Facebook.
Twitter.
Oh, just to be sure. Okay, Molat took Twitter. Okay, so Molat took call, panel, and Twitter. Chinwe took Facebook. Okay.
Femi, can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, quickly. As regards the message, the comments that Sam pointed out about something with the panel trying to vote for Molat. Now, first off, there are people that naturally they struggle with English because of one, their environment. Two, there are people that when they get the opportunity to speak that English in a more better environment, they tend to grow. That's another point. Now, there are people that naturally they feel very, very, very relaxed speaking English. I myself, when I joined the team, I struggled with English at some point, but I can understand the growth. That's me using myself as a yardstick now to measure. So, the comments talked about diction. Now, that's why I had to call the attention of that message.
Yeah.
Why? Because Molat struggles with English does not mean that she cannot get better with time if she definitely gets into the industry. Now,
just a bit of a correction.
Okay.
Not really English, enunciation. Do you
yeah,
understand?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Because sometimes you know what you want to say.
But
it's
how
the way you say.
The way you that is it. Now, also
just elocution, enunciation, pronunciation.
Now,
these are the things.
it might also be because of the fact that all through her life she has been pronouncing those words like that, and there's really nobody there to correct her like you did tonight to some of the gladiators. So it's not about us voting simply because she did not get because the message was actually about diction, because she did not get the diction right and the rest of it. Also, you look at how would this person grow with time. I can tell you
potential growth
trajectory. Now, this was not how it was for her when she started the battle. I can actually say that the first battle was way it was something else. The second battle, and with time she's growing. So it should not be simply because she actually she has not been able to pronounce some words very, very well. That should not really be a yardstick for us to just chop her head off. No.
Can I also say something, right? Okay, now this is fans battle, right, on Nigeria Info. But then again, Femi and the Gang is brought in across the court different stations. And Femi and the Gang has different characters and different people involved and all of that. When Peter had his battle, right, I told him I had a problem with him not pronouncing sports languages very well. Like, this is sports lingo, you're doing a sports show, right? This show could be done in Pidgin, this show could be done in Yoruba, this show could be done in Igbo or whatever. But when it comes to sports lingo, this is sports lingo. Are you putting an effort to pronouncing right? Are you pronouncing the names of the club right, the names of the players right, and all of that? And yes, this is fans battle, right? This is on Nigeria Info. But then again, the potential winner of this show might not actually be doing the show on Nigeria Info. Their sister stations, there are different areas. Femi and the Gang is broad and all of that. So what I say, it doesn't make an excuse for you to not focus on improving your English or improving your enunciations, your pronunciations, your dictions, and all of that. But then again, let's look at it like Serafina said, potential for growth and potential of making it big, because we look for a whole lot of things the viewers are not even paying attention to, or the listeners are not paying attention to. There are different areas to this, there are different angles to this, there are different ways to do this business, to do these things. That yes, there are areas that you need to have, there are things you need to have, but the point is there's something that makes you stand out, that X factor. And most times when we try to vote, we try to look at it. So from style, when you're talking, will I pay attention to you? Can you do a sports show? If this was a sports show, like I usually would say when I vote, if this was a sports show, let's take your argument aside, would I listen to you if I was not forced to listen to you because I needed to make a judgment call? So that's important.
Femi, very quickly before you go on, I think it's something we need to clear up. The debate is going on social media and people are getting confused. You will have to clear this up afterwards. Chike Stephen had made that comment that brought this up, so more people are getting confused based on his comment. And this is from George Isaiah Onuku, who says, I'm not happy with the panelists today again. Diction, points, and presentation. Somebody is now awarding based on points only. Then Chike Stephen comes to say, Mr. Femi told us that it's the criteria. Those people who will like to listen to every day. She pronounced Chelsea as Chelsea. Okay, so because she can't pronounce some words well, then should she be penalized? Asks another person. So I think this is something you need to clear up just so we know what we are doing and we don't sound biased here.
All right. Again, now some of these instructions, some of these rules. So let me give you a little background education. So for me, this is the second season of Counter. The first season threw up the likes of Hodovai, the likes of Chigozie, the likes of Shola, the likes of Solomon Adivri, the likes of Jude Van P, the likes of Ben Emejom, the likes of Isong, the likes of Emeka Okoha, who had to be called to service after his first battle and returned in this season 2, but who's been knocked out now. Quite a number of interesting individuals, and some of them are sports journalists in their own right now, and broadcasters as well. Having said that much, the rules then are similar to the rules now. The whole essence of the exercise is to look out for people who one day can push a career on radio. That is it. People who can pursue a career on radio, or who want to further their career. So it doesn't matter what you're coming from, whether you are a writer or you are a sports journalist on paper or via the newspapers and all of that. It's an opportunity. For that reason, presentation is of the utmost important. In season 2, what would have been season 2, which never started, because this would have been season 3. In season 2, I subtitled that season Fan Battle Funny Bone, because in season 2 the intention was to switch from your ability to analyze to your ability to entertain. I was looking for entertainers then, and at that time I was looking for an entertainer on the team. The reason why that season was cancelled, because while we were preparing, I fortunately stumbled on Buchi. Slam bank, right there, what we wanted. So the funny bone never happened, which means we went back to the original concept of the fan battle. Who are the people who can hold? You might have other qualities, but first, you have to be able to talk and people listen to you. So those criteria are crucial. And this is why I always say, who would you rather listen to? If you turn on your radio and somebody was talking, would you listen? Now, having said that, I would say, and a lot of people have been congratulating me recently for my 25th anniversary on radio. The first time I went on radio anywhere at all was in 1994. In that time, in my 25 years of experience, 2 things have been true. One, the fact that broadcasters are born, they are not made, which is an age-long tradition we've had. It is true. However, there is a second truth my experience has taught me. Sometimes a broadcaster is made. And in my time, I have made judgment calls to engage people who ordinarily should not be on air. On this same station, I engaged somebody who I had been told by superior authorities, after hearing the fellow on air, I was told that person should never enter this compound again. That person must not. In fact, it was so serious, I got a strongly worded query here. I was told, from now on, you should not feature anybody on your show. You should continue to do your shows alone. I went ahead and employed that person. And guess what? When I went to HR and I was processing the person's employment, HR told me, this person is not employable. The person does not have the qualification. And I said, I don't care about the qualification. What the person has, I can grow. And that person proceeded to be a top member of the team. There was somebody else who, the first time, and I've shared this before, the first time I heard him, he was stuttering. He was a stammerer. Naturally, you won't think that person has potential on radio. I took a leap of faith, and that person became, celebrated and widely regarded. Why did I say so? I like the whole idea about, potential for growth, and all of that. In truth, as a person, I feel that Molat has a lot of work to do. Can she be helped? Yes. Have I worked with people with the same things that we could accuse Molat of? Affectation, provincialism, intrusivity or intrusiveness, intrusive age syndrome. Those are things. But I think I've developed a knack for helping people get rid of it. So while that is important, the mind is also important. I think that it is to her credit, to Mola's credit, that people can even, despite those, and like you said, despite those imperfections, people could still vote for her, like she took the phone votes. Again, it is within, the margin for error is very limited. If the second voter who came and strongly voted for Chinwe had not been a bit evasive as to the reason why he was voting for Chinwe, that Chinwe would have gone, Chinwe would have taken the first two votes. No, maybe not the first. Yes, Mola took the second. Chinwe would have gone into the lead, and then maybe the voting pattern would have changed. But it is what it is. Voting can sometimes go like that. Again, it's one of those days when I could use my veto power, because I thoroughly enjoyed Chinwe. Personally, I thought Molat's introduction was not up to scratch based on the introduction we've seen her before. I was forced to ask her a second time when we were starting. She didn't, when I said, "Are you guys good to go?" She didn't say anything. Chinwe responded. I asked the second time because I wanted to be sure. I was looking at Molat and I was wondering whether she's up to it or whether she's in a great frame of mind tonight. And when she started, because she set us aglow, I thought Molat is not on fire today. Yeah. So having said all that, the fact that Molat took the phone call, she took the judges, the panel vote by 2-1. Sam and Sarafina voted for her. Lizzie went for Chinwe. And that Molat also took Twitter, the same way Peter had done in the first battle. I do not find enough justification to counter the decision. Because on the strength of it, she's taken 60 points from the panel. She's taken 20 points from the phone, and she's also taken 10 points from Twitter, and leaving just the 10 for Chinwe, which it just happened. For me, at the end of the battle, if somebody had told me that this was how the voting would go, I would have said lie. In fact, at that point, I was already thinking, I had moved on, I had given this battle to Chinwe. I was beginning to think about what is going to happen in the deciders between Molat and Nenye. Even the phone lines was a bit of a shocker to me. It was a bit of a surprise. But that's the thing with contests, Having said that, it is credit to Molat that she marshaled her points enough, despite seemingly fighting from a difficult position. Because if it were to go to personal opinion, we'll probably see more people who will say, they were shambolic, Joy, when you lock. Do you understand? So, I think I will stick with her. I will keep the faith. I'm going to say this, however, no matter what happens tonight, because of the strength of the people I have seen. Interestingly, when the contestants look at the rules governing this, they will notice that in the next round, which is in the round of 12, there is a part where I use a wild card and bring somebody back into the race. I've been pondering who. As at tonight, whoever I'm going to bring back into the race will come from tonight, unless something else happens before we go. So even though we might be sad that we'll be losing one of our very strong performance so far tonight, it may not be the end after all, unless something else happens. With that, I say congratulations to you, Molat. I'm proud of you. You progress automatically, and you will choose your next battle. I'm waiting on you.
Tuesday, number 3.
Tuesday, what Tuesday?
28th.
Tuesday 20th, not 27th. 20th.
No, yeah.
So Tuesday, you are number 3. That's Molat. It means you will go up in the second contest of Tuesday 20th. That's Tuesday after this coming one, right? Or next Tuesday? The coming Tuesday. So you are going to go up against Mercy. Mercy will be contestant 1. You will be contestant 2. Second battle. The first battle will be between Ada and whoever sits in 4th in that group. So congratulations. We'll take one final break, and then we'll make the final decision, which will be between Chinwe and Nenye right after this.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.